Marion, it's your birthday.
Yes.
Oh, darling. First of all, I have to say thank you for my joy that you gave me. And yeah, my favourite perfume, Tom Ford. Black Orchid, can't go wrong. Thank you. I am absolutely so happy. Thank you so much. I've gone on too long.
Yes,
my birthday was fantastic.
Now, carry on.
Oh, fuck off.
What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
My birthday was amazing. I dedicated it to eating and drinking. I thought the 24 hours need to be spent like that. I unhinged my jaw in the morning and just pretty much shoveled, hydrated a lot of the time with cocktails and also a lot of slow burning carbs. So it health really, but I can barely move today.
Excellent. What was your favourite food yesterday?
Well, I schnitzeled my way the night before my birthday and the night of my birthday. Chicken schnitzel and heaven. Thank you, Corbyn and King. And
chocolate.
Oh yes, I think it was probably free radicals. Free radicals.
Yes, yes, of course.
I think
very good.
I don't know. It was everything I ate. My kids made me an amazing breakfast, which of course I consumed. So everything.
Yeah, lots of your 5 a day, or your 25 a day.
I think I was going to say 500 a day.
Fabulous.
Well, we're glad you had a lovely day. And you're spritzing, you see, every time you spritz, you'll think of us.
I will. Oh, God. I hadn't thought of that.
Yes, throw it away now.
Suddenly went off the perfume very quickly. Don't like that.
I don't like that perfume.
Yeah. Anyway, Sherry, we have a great guest, don't we, today?
We have a very, very special guest. You'll all know her, everybody, because she's been around. I was going to say since God was a boy, but I don't mean that in a way of it sounded. All I meant was that we've all known her. We've all watched her with her wonderful husband, Mike. Please welcome the fabulous Sarah Greene. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm excited. I'm well. I'm
Good.
warm. I'm excited to be with you because having watched you, I'm always a bit. I always feel part of it because that's how you do it. You know, we're all watching you and we feel part of what you're doing. But I've always secretly wanted to join in. So when Sherry got in touch with me, God, I couldn't have been more thrilled. So here we are. Thank you.
Here we are.
Honoured, darling. Honoured.
So Sarah, tell me, on Saturday, you've got something very special happening, haven't you? Tell us all about that.
Yes, I will. I am hosting a 90-minute live stream, which you know all about, from a lovely studio in Kennington. It is for the London Gardens Trust. Now, the London Gardens Trust was set up after a drunken lunch, so I'm told.
Are they all?
Exactly.
That's every day, isn't it?
But it was set up in 1994, and it was set up by a group of people who were already taking care of the green spaces and the parks and the secret gardens around London. Ooh. We are so lucky, those of us who live in this city, because the evolution of London grew up around these green spaces.
Yeah.
The lungs of London, as they're often called, but they need protecting. And so the London Gardens Trust takes care of that. And also it's a charity. It's a charity. They don't get any money from councils or from the government. And so they rely on donations from people like us. And so the event on Saturday is the virtual version of what the London Open Gardens, the weekend every year that they have the London Open Gardens, that is set up by the London Gardens Trust. So we're doing London Open Gardens on air live between 5:30 and 7 p.m. on Saturday. Going into that, though we're based in the studio, and I've got 5 guests coming in, including the fabulous Peter Fiore, who is the executive chef at the Coots Skyline restaurant.
Yeah.
He grows every single vegetable that's used, every plant, herb, spices, fruits he grows on the roof of Coots in the Strand. In London.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Amazing garden. It's acres and acres of and he's got about 80, and I kid you not, because I had to read this when I read the note.
On the roof.
Right, that 18,000 different species he does. So he's coming in to talk all about that. Now, normally we can't get to see that. It's only the good people who work at Coots who get to see this or experience it. But virtually, we are going up there.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And that's just one of the places. I mean, that's a spanking brand new modern garden, but we're going to some of the oldest gardens in London and some of the really tucked away secret ones. I mean, I have got a thing about roof gardens anyway. I think there's something very magical about them.
Me too.
Yes, yes.
I mean, if you've got a flat and you've got a little balcony or a windowsill, to me, that's gardening above ground, and that sort of almost counts. But some of the really spectacular roof gardens, like, do you remember the Kensington roof garden?
Yes.
Right, do you remember?
course.
Going right back to Bieber. The
Bieber Roof Garden.
That's
Bieber Roof
it.
Garden.
I mean,
yes.
So I don't want to jump the gun here, but one of our guests is the chap who, I mean, it's closed at the moment, sadly. It is going to reopen apparently, but Richard Branson had that whole setup up there for several years. Had well, actually a few decades. The Babylon restaurant was up there, and part of the whole Virgin limited edition part of their portfolio. But this lovely chap, David Lewis, was head gardener then. And he is going to be one of the guests because he and I did a little bit of work filming up there in the past together. And he's going to pop in and he's got some great stories. But that's an iconic roof garden. So that's one of the gardens. But we are going to be going to 16 different locations around London.
Wow.
And during the course of the programme, it's totally interactive. People can send in questions. They can send in their pictures. We can flash them out of their gardens.
Oh, how lovely.
There's a competition. You can win a Fortnum's hamper.
Ooh.
And it's all about fundraising.
I must ask you now to talk about your patronage for ovarian cancer, target ovarian cancer. Can you tell us how you became involved?
I would be delighted. That would mean a lot to me, actually. So in 2010, my mum, Margie Lawrence, she had been feeling very poorly for about 10 months or so. And she was a very fit person. She walked every day. Like most actresses, she took care of herself because you only earn if you're working and you can only work if you're fit. And she's always been passionate about eating good, the right foods and enjoying food, and a really healthy person. And suddenly she began to feel not right, and she knew something wasn't right. And she went to her GP, as one would, and the GP started to send her to rheumatoid arthritis specialists, to irritable bowel specialists, to every which way, and nobody could find anything that was wrong. And she kept plugging away at it, and she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And the GP wasn't perhaps the most proactive. I dragged him round to the house when Mum couldn't get out of bed. And my father was desperate as well. And he was really proactive at trying to find out. They thought it might be a heart problem. She just began to get really bloated in her tummy. And it got to the point where I rang her GP and I said, right, Margie's been in bed now for 3 days. She can't move. I really want you to come out and see her. I know you don't do this normally, but please come and see her, because if you don't come and see her, I will call an ambulance. He took one look at her tummy, which he'd seen lots of times before, but he took one look and he said, right, I will call the ambulance now. She needs to go into A&E. And I said to him, what do you think it is? And he said, I can't say for sure, but she needs to go into A&E, and I'll write up some notes for the ambulance drivers. I said, if you're going to say that she has cancer, I'd rather they didn't discuss that with her in the ambulance. But I'm just saying that. He said, no, that's fine. We got her into A&E in Kingston, and a day later she'd had a CT scan, and yes, there was a mass on her ovary, on one of the ovaries, and it was inoperable. It had gone too far, and she died 3 weeks later.
Oh my God.
She wanted to be at home. My brother and sister both live overseas. They flew back, my sister with her children, and we were all around her at home. And the day after she died, I took some flowers. I wanted to take a present into what we used to call the district nurses, but the community nurses, who were fabulous in that last 3 weeks while she was at home. And up on the wall was a tiny brochure pinned to the notice board while I was waiting in the waiting room to see them. And it listed 5 symptoms of ovarian cancer. I'd never seen that brochure before. No GP that my mum had seen at her GP practice, where there were 10 in rotation, obviously knew these symptoms. And the symptoms were all the symptoms that she had had, every single one to the letter. If I'd seen them 6 months earlier, she might still have been alive. And at that point, I grabbed the brochure. I said, I'll bring it back, or can you make me a print of this? Because I'm going to make sure that everybody, as many people as I can physically contact, get to know this. So the symptoms: a continually bloated tummy, not just the kind of bloating that you get before, during, and right after a period. If it's continually bloated, if you feel full up all the time, that you don't really want to eat very much at all, if you feel tireder than usual, really fatigued, if you need to pee more, and actually your bowel habits might be a bit different as well. There might be terrible constipation one day and diarrhea the next, but it's mainly the peeing thing, if you need to pee more. And fifthly, if you have low abdominal pain, either in your abdomen or in your back. So those are the 5 things to look out for. Now, you could have all those things and it's not ovarian cancer. But what you need to do, if you've got those things, is go and see your GP and ask for an ultrasound scan, ask to be sent for some diagnostic imaging, to go and get an ultrasound scan, and ask for a CA125 blood test.
Writing this down.
A CA125 blood test. And that's tests where your markers are for cancer. And it's a good one to have anyway. I mean, we should really all have it. And it costs 50 pence. I mean, it costs the NHS 50 pence. So it actually is a money-saving exercise if you can get there ahead of the game. 11 women every day die of ovarian cancer in this country. Wow. We have the lowest survival rate in Europe.
Wow.
Now, I'm not sure why that is. I'm very involved with Target Ovarian Cancer, who there are brilliant ovarian cancer charities around, and things like Cancer Research UK. Why I went with Target is partly because they are very keen on, as well as looking after women and their families who have been diagnosed and going through treatment. They are also very big on research, but also on lobbying Parliament to get awareness campaigns out there. Still people say, and understandably they say, oh yeah, well, ovarian cancer, it's a silent killer, isn't it? Well, my answer to that is, it needn't be. It's not silent if you know what you're listening for.
Yes.
And what
Yes.
you're looking out for.
Yes.
And it needn't kill if you get there early enough. So be insistent, because so many women get deflected. Oh, it's irritable bowel syndrome. Oh, it's you know, yes, it may well be. It may well be, but it might not be. And my big thing is, get there. Be proactive about this.
Yeah,
that's so amazing. Darling, I want to talk to you. Everyone knows how brilliant you are as a presenter. But I also want to talk to you about your life as an actress, dresser, a little bit about the swish of the curtain, and I want some panto anecdotes, but no pressure.
Oh,
So-
well, my ambitions were probably way above my talent. Well, I'm sure, because what I wanted to be doing from quite an early age was, by the time I was 30, I wanted to be running the National Theatre.
Of course you did.
Right.
That's absolutely normal and quite right, darling.
No, I mean, you see, Joan Littlewood was a sort of honorary godmother, except she didn't believe in all that stuff, because if it wasn't for Joan, I wouldn't exist. My dad was in, gosh, he was with Joan before it was even Theatre Workshop, and before it was settled at Stratford East. You know, he helped her and Jerry Raffles move in. And 5 years later, Margie joined the company, and a couple of years after that, I appeared.
There you go.
So there you are.
It's in your DNA, darling. There is no choice.
Joan was furious when Mum and Dad told her that they were getting married. She said, "What a bourgeois thing to do! What a Margie, you're a great actress. You're going to be a bourgeois, middle class housewife now." You know, and my mother was furious. My mother, very down to earth, come from a working class family, and you know, I think. She was not happy about that, and my mum went, did her own thing.
Where did you train?
Well, I went to I got in to Central, but I also got a place at Hull University to do the single honours drama degree. At that stage, my mum was in a play at the Royal Court upstairs, and the stage manager was a terrific guy who said, because I used to go in and help with rehearsals and go in as much as I could. I was about 15, and there were some really good looking guys in the cast as well.
Fabulous.
And
Win-win.
there was nudity involved too.
Oh,
only
I'm so
for the
sorry.
men. Only for the men for a change.
Oh,
It was quite
yes.
interesting.
We haven't seen one of those for years.
One of the chaps who was in the nude was James Albury. Do you remember James Albury?
Yes, of course.
And this is a long time ago, and I'm sure he's still with us. He's still gorgeous, but he was a very gorgeous young man. I'd go into as many undress rehearsals as I could.
Of course.
But the stage manager said, he knew what my thoughts were, and he said, "Well, look, if you're interested in writing and directing and acting, why don't you do the course that I did? Because they have the best equipped theatre that I have ever worked in, and you have to use it. It's not there for show. As well as doing all your academic work, you will learn how to rig lights, you will learn how to budget a show, you will learn about front of house, you'll learn about how the flies operate, you'll have to do all of that." And I thought that sounded like a dream come true. I mean, that was the Blue Door Theatre Company.
Yes, you mentioned the Blue Door Theatre Company, which is Swish of the Curtain's important story.
Yes.
And that story got me into theatre, made me want to do it. Did it do the same for you? I mean, you were already there with the Blue Doors.
I sort of was already there with it,
Yeah.
but it so chimed in. Anything about performance I loved reading. So whether it was Swish of the Curtain or Ballet Shoes, them.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I still can't go past that area of London.
Freeds.
The whole, Freeds, the smell of ballet shoes.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, did you go to the university? What happened to the end of the story?
Oh, okay. Yes, I did. I got into Hull, and it was the most tremendous 3 years. It really was, because we had to go and play. I played the Tithe Barn in East Riddleston, in East Lynn. On the one, we were doing Bertolt Brecht musicals. We were doing, but you had to produce your own. I met people there who obviously still lifelong friends, and people who have mostly gone into the business, which is interesting. I mean,
very.
business. And back in the day, I was writing off to every rep while I was meant to be studying for my finals. And I'd got the Birmingham Theatre and Education job before I took my finals, and I'd been offered to start in September at Manchester Library Theatre.
Amazing.
Oh,
wow.
Now I
lovely.
want to hear about your dressing, darling. And
15,
edit.
16, flitting around London, being sent to the various West End theatres to be a dresser. And as much as it was very prestigious to sit with Estelle Kohler and Tom Conti dressing them on The Devil's Disciple, when the mother of all dressers, who allocated where we should all go, said to me, Sarah, you're not going to the Old Witch tonight. You're going to go to the Victoria Palace. You know where that is? I said, yeah, it's just up the road from school.
Yeah.
No problem. And she said, yeah, you're going to be dressing on Swing Along a Max.
Yes.
And you know, big proper variety show.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
oh my God.
Wow.
Best.
Oh, will I be dressing Mr. Bygraves? No. No, you
No.
will be dressing the dancers. Fine, great. So they put me in with the 4 girls who were they were all about at least 6 foot tall, and that
Show
was without
dancers,
their heels.
yeah.
They were showgirls with legs up to their armpits, you know. Anyway, it all went a bit, I was about to say tits up, but I won't say that.
You say it.
You can say what you want.
We
You
say
can
it all.
say it.
Well,
Say it.
did badly when they had the most stunning, there were lots of costume changes because it was one of those fun and frolics through the ages type shows. So you'd got the piece that was set in the 20s, the piece that was set in the 30s, 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
So at one point they were coming on as almost like the Busby Berkeley girls with these dresses that were all lit up, covered in hundreds of fairy lights. And my job was to plug them in in the wings. So as I plugged them in, and I'd been told which order they had to be plugged in, as I plugged in, they were all ready to go on, and the last in the trail of the 4, all linked together, was there waiting. And I put the last plug in, bang! Exploded. They exploded. I'd short-circuited all their dresses. It was quite a decision that I should go and dress the boy dancers, the 4 boy dancers. Well, oh my goodness, it was like chalk and cheese. It was such fun in their dressing room. It was just so much more relaxed. It was lovely. There were two straight guys, 2 gay guys, and it was just a party every night, except they played tricks on me. And what they would do, because there were lots of costume changes, so I was running back and forth, up and down those stairs, hundreds of times per performance. And what they would do high kicks, the highest kicks. There was one dancer, Roger, who could actually practically get his leg back over his head in a standing position. But he only did this because he knew he'd split his pants. I would have to sew them. I'm not the greatest seamstress, and I really didn't enjoy that part of it. But he would split his pants as much as possible. And it got to a stage where then 2 of them would do it, then 3 of them, then 4. And one night I said, right, okay, guys, you're going on without your pants. You're going on without. Or you can wear instead of wearing the First World War outfit, you can wear the 1920s outfit with the First World. How good is that going to look? And it's all your fault. You've split your pants. So they said, right, we will. And on they went. About 5 minutes into the routine, there was this storming noise coming down the corridor towards me, and flying towards me was none other than Lionel Blair, Lili, who was the choreographer. Who the has put my boys in the wrong costume? And he tore me apart. I mean, quite rightly, really. But I tried to, I'm terribly sorry, Miss Blair. I'm really, really sorry. But you see, what happened is, look, they're all breaking, and they've all been, and I didn't want to tell tales on them when I didn't. I said, I will put it right straight away. Now, years later, I was on Give Us a Clue with Lionel Blair, and he swears that he did remember that. I'm sure he didn't.
You know, we all know that you had a fantastic marriage to the lovely Mike Smith, your wonderful husband. And you were really the golden couple, you know. And you know, it must have been devastating for you, I know, when he died, sadly. Quite recently, really, you've been carrying on his legacy, haven't you, with Flying TV and all sorts of things.
I've been doing my utmost, and there's not a day goes by when I don't ask him if I'm doing the right thing, or I really do. He died, it'll be 7 years ago.
How long was that?
It will, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it, because on the one hand, of course, it feels like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But what I've had to do is, I'm quite good now at taking my mind back to the good days of wellness. Of wellness.
Yes.
And so that's where he is in my heart, in my mind, and around me. And I know that.
Lovely.
I really, really do know that. And he has guided my life since then. I sort of knew that he'd want me to carry on with Flying TV. He'd set up Flying TV in 2003, and it was his baby. I was sort of part of that setting up, but it was very much Mike's baby, because it combined flying, which he could do. It combined brilliant camera work that was going to be newly affordable to a lot more TV companies, and it combined television, and often live television. So his passions were all there.
Yeah.
He rewrote the rule book for a lot of the CAA on flying that type of helicopter. And
He did.
Camera work. So he really did start something new. So it has to develop, has to carry on, and that's what I've tried to do. And I have been so lucky in that. Shout out to Monica Wire, my right hand girl, my right-hand woman, who knows everything about everything. And she is the best DOP, she's the best camera operator, she's also a pilot, and she knows about running this company. So I help Monica. That's what I do. I make sure the money comes in and the money goes out, and I fly a desk, and it's not something I ever dreamt I'd be doing in a gazillion years. And Mike sort of gave me that chance, which sounds really strange, but he has guided my life in every way, including my private life, if you like, which he, I'm sure, set me up with one of his bestest buddies. Later,
how lovely.
Who sort of after time had elapsed, was ringing me on a regular basis, and I wasn't really answering the phone. I haven't got that one of those scanners so I can see who's ringing me, which is terrible if it's not a line. So poor Rob had been ringing and ringing and ringing, and finally I picked up the phone one day, because I forgot not to, because people have been cold calling and saying, "We understand you'll need a widow's pension." Can you imagine? So that's why I haven't been answering the phone. And I picked up the phone, and he said, "Thank God you picked up the phone." He said, "This was going to be my last time I was going to try, because I thought you really don't want to talk to me." And that was on Valentine's Day. And I said, "Rob, God, you're so kind, and you thought about me. Thank you." I thought it was pure kindness, and which it was, but he had ulterior motives. I actually did feel Mike used to stand behind me and put his hands on my shoulders sometimes, to sort of calm me down. And I just felt these hands kind of just pushing me, almost not away from him, but towards Rob. So
towards him.
Yeah. So
how lovely.
I know that you'd like to come back and be one of our presenters in the next few weeks or whatever. So we'd love you to come and join us, won't we?
We would love that.
I would regard that as a real privilege and an honour.
We'll see you soon.
See you very, very
Lots
soon.
of love.
Look forward to it.
Bye.
Bye. I love her so
And
much.
she has so much more to give.
Yes.
Of course.
She's
Well, next
amazing.
time. Yeah.
Wow is all I
What
can
an
say.
amazing
Wow.
show. Right then, girls. Harriet should be here on Friday. Are you?
I just wanted to do a shout out for all the amazing carers. There are 700,000 carers looking after friends and family in our country. And it's been a very important week for them to acknowledge their love and attention to everyone.
Thank you, Harriet.
Thank you.
It is
Thank you.
important.
So Harriet is taking
yes.
Friday off, obviously, because she's getting over eating so much.
Taking Friday off as if.
And we have as our guest the lovely Jackie Leonard, and we have a co-presenter as well who's coming in, but she's a surprise. She'll see you on Friday. So we'll see you on Friday.
See you Friday, girls.
See you Friday.
Bye.